Good morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner with Daily Technical Update. It is Wednesday, the 18th of June. This is an educational video only. There's no recommendation or advice whatsoever intended. This is only to demonstrate how I try to read the market and explain the market using basic technical analysis. Today, let's start with S&P 500, a little bit lower yesterday, but still in an uptrend. Support here at 5,921. That is short-term key. There's divergence, as you can see here on the RSI. RSI values declining, so we are stressed and we could face a correction after hitting the upper rising trend line here. But we're still in a bullish trend as long as they're above this level there. Just very quickly on Dow Jones, we'll start there. The sideways range trading is continuing. Key support down here at 41,414. Moving on to Nasdaq 100. Nasdaq 100 set back 1% yesterday. Support here just around 21,455. That should be observed. However, here pre-market we are up about 0.5%, and we have here the US NAS 100 CFD 21,430 key support. If it breaks below that, well, then we could see a correction playing on. RSI declining, indicating trend exhaustion, but we need confirmation. If it takes out the previous peak there at 22,067, well, then uptrend is resuming with the potential to make new all-time highs. In Asia, Hang Seng this morning is continuous correction phase, taking out the little lows there from a few days ago, and I think we could see a setback there down to the 61.8 retracement at 23,345 here the next few days. Also had divergence here on the RSI, so it looks a little bit toppish. At least we should have a correction. Could also drop even further down to around 23,000 and the 786 retracement. However, if it takes out the lows from the peak from yesterday at 24,132, well, then uptrend is likely to resume. On the Nikkei has fared better this morning, has taken out its peak here and resistance at 38,790 and resuming uptrend. And I think here on the next day, a few days towards the weekend, we could see a push towards, I don't know if we will get there, but towards 40,000 at least the 138.2 projection of this triangle-like pattern there that is now broken out of. Moving on to Europe, EuroStoxx50 yesterday closed just above 5,285 support. Here pre-market bouncing a little bit, as we can see, still holding on above the 55 moving average. If it can take out the peak from the 16th June, well, then it could resume uptrend, but also here we are in a correction phase and we could drop lower to the on the CAS index at the 55 moving average and support of 5,228. RSI though still in a positive sentiment. It bounced from the 40 threshold. Could it bounce once again? It seems like it here, just pre-market that it could do that. And if we're again looking at the CFD/future, you see how it's bouncing. So it's still struggling and still fighting for staying afloat. DAX tested support here at 23,338, and also here we are bouncing a little bit above the support at 23,260 on the CFD. So the next the couple of days could be decisive. Should we have a correction down to around 22,850 and the 55 moving average, the 100 moving average coming up, or should we bounce? So that will be key. Also here we can see RSI bouncing from the 40 threshold twice. So it will be key. Will it also close below, or will it keep bouncing? So that's something to keep an eye on. We are on a knife edge at the moment for the European markets. Euro dollar, well, sent back yesterday, so this is more than a crawl than a sprint for euro dollar, setting back here close to testing the lower rising trend line. And if we also add a Fibonacci to it, then we could possibly see what could be the setback could dip down to, maybe if it's dipping below the rising trend line to 114.15, which is the 38.2 retracement, but there's a little bit of support. We do have the RSI divergence, so it is struggling a little bit. However, the uptrend is still intact: higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, and now we have a low. So it seems like this is just small baby steps higher indeed. The sterling dollar, 136.20, and I will actually adjust it because like so. So 136.20, just round numbers there. I know it spiked a little bit higher, so maybe it should be 136.30, but nevertheless, sideways trading, testing the minor support here at 134.15 and bouncing. So let's see which way it will actually break out. That will be key for the next bigger move. If it's breaking out to the bearish side, and then I think we will see push lower towards, and that's what we can use this for, to at least the 61.8 at 133 and a quarter, maybe even down to the 786, spiking below the 55 moving average. On the euro sterling crawling higher now, positive sentiment on the RSI, no divergence, indicating we are likely to reach the 61.8 retracement at just below 86, possibly pushing higher to 86 and a quarter, but we are in a bullish trend, and that will possibly also weigh in on the sterling dollar. Let's see about that, but the more clear picture here on your euro sterling. Dollar yen, above the short-term falling trend line there, but still below the cloud, still negative sentiment there on the eye, still below 60 threshold. Could jump up to the resistance here at 146 and a quarter, 146.30, but there will be strong. You see that the 55 moving average declining. We have the 100 moving hours also coming down. They're kind of putting a lid on it. So maybe it's just a little force breaker. And these triangles, they are not that, they're not the strongest resistance. And what we can also see is that it actually didn't manage to take out that little spike up there. It actually tested it just at 145.5. Euro yen, a little bit of setback after pushing higher, but positive sentiment on the RSI, no divergence, indicating we're likely to see a push towards 168.40 possibly. The Aussie yen again rejected here at the 786 retracement, spiked a little bit higher than last time, but still got rejected. And that is really what it needs to take out. If it takes out the peak from yesterday, then I think we'll see a push up to 95.75. But for now, expect a little bit of setback. However, still positive sentiment on the RSI, no divergence, indicating we are likely to see higher levels, but it's not really there just yet. On sterling yen, well, it couldn't hold up either, but we're still in a bullish trend, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, and higher high. So crawling higher with a lot of volatility, so be careful. There is still potential up to 198, but it will be a struggle, it seems. And if it takes out the lower rising trend line there, well, then we could see a setback down to 193, possibly 192. Aussie dollar, well, it's still 65.50. That is key resistance there, so not much to say really. Dollar Canada seems to be bouncing now, and I added Fibonacci to it. I think we could get up to at least the 38.2 here at 137.20, maybe higher. Key resistance 138.35, which is also around the 61.8 retracement, and that would be key to really establish a bullish trend. However, there is no divergence here on the RSI. You see these lower levels here. Well, they also have lower levels on the actual pricing chart. And here on the weekly, we can see, well, it's trying to get back above this, and our resistance here has bounced a little bit above it and above the rising trend line, but the trend is down, and I wouldn't be surprised if it starts sliding back lower or resume sliding lower. The sterling Canada Sterling Canada yesterday dipped below the 786 retracement, below the 100 and below the cloud, but closed above and now seems to be bouncing a bit. And I think we could bounce it a little bit further. Above the 61.8 here, and but then the 55 moving average will give it a little bit of a hard time. We're still in a bearish trend. There's now negative, but marginally, but as you can see here, 39.84 marginal negative sentiment, indicating we could see it sliding lower in the coming weeks. If it takes out the lows there from yesterday, well, then I also think it will take out the 182.60 support. The Swiss franc still sideways, so really not much to say. 94.50 and 93. Dollar Swiss bouncing, as we talked about. There was a bottom of reversal indication here, and I think we could see it bounce to 38.2 at least at the 82.17 if it takes out these peaks here. And let's just draw a horizontal line. These peaks here just around 82.5, we could see it bouncing higher to around 83, but we have the 55 coming down. There's still negative sentiment on the RSI, so it's weighing on it, and I'm not quite sure we will have a trend reversal, but at least just a bounce. Dollar index also bouncing, and I think it could test this falling trend line there, and possibly also the 38.2 retracement at 98.98. Will it break higher? Well, that is debatable. However, I will also here draw a trend line. We have this area here around 99.34, where we have kind of a couple of peaks here. If it closes above that, well, then we are looking at levels around 100 and 132. Moving on to gold. It's really pausing here just below 3,400. It needs to take out. This is actually a bearish engulfing. You can see that the market opened higher than the close the previous day, and closed lower than the open the previous day. So we actually have a top and reversal pattern in place. I will remove this one. But so we are stretched to say the least. So let's see if it's not a clear and slam dunk at the moment. Also added a trend line there that maybe could be a little bit of a guide also around the 21 moving average. We are still in a bullish trend, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, and higher high. So as long as we stay above, and we can actually add that to it, and this is the next one. So 32.93, then it's okay. But we also have the cloud support. We have the 55 moving average coming up, giving some support. So we're still in this trend, bullish trend, but it is really seems to be in exhausted mode. The silver, on the other hand, pushed higher yesterday towards 37.40. Towards 38, obviously. The next stronger resistance is actually at 37.5. It goes back several years, 37.5, and I think it will touch it fairly soon. Still positive sentiment on the RSI, but looks a little bit stressed here short term, but I think we will get up there, and let's see what happens then. The platinum bouncing and could bounce further, and if it takes out the previous peak there, well, then we are looking at levels at, and let's just see, that was the wrong way. Let me just do this again. It's not easy when we do it like that. Then we'll do it. There we are, and there. Then we have push higher. If it takes out 1,308, then we're looking at 13.50, possibly higher for platinum. Copper, could it start moving up here? We have the 55 slowly starting to turn around, maybe, but still declining. Still negative sentiment on the RSI, but we are in a bullish trend. We are above the cloud. So indicators are not really conclusive here. So let's see here the next few days. Could it actually start crawling higher slowly? But it will be a struggle, especially with the 55 moving average still declining, and with RSI, it really needs to close above 60 threshold to support a bullish trend. On the energy side, a lot of volatility, bounced strongly yesterday. We have So I would say we are boxed in here a little bit. It needs to take out 77.60 for a push higher above 80. And if we are adding to the weekly chart, we can see, well, there could be room up to 88.77, where we also have the 200 weekly moving average coming up. And so let's see about that. But a lot of volatility, of course, due to the tension in Middle East, and if it escalates, well, then it could just simply explode higher, the oil price. We have the Brent crude oil, also same picture. If it takes out 78.50 there, well, then we're looking at 81.60, possibly 82.63, which is the spike up there, maybe even higher if it escalates down in Middle East. The European nat gas also pushing higher, obviously, and could be testing the and is very close to be testing the 40 resistance here. I think it will push higher, but we have the 100 moving average coming down, giving a little bit of a hard time, but I think it will spike higher. RSI positive, we are above the cloud, bullish trend, and let's just remove this one. I think we could see a push. There's a risk up to 44 if the tension escalates, or the situation escalates in the Middle East, then suddenly everything can explode higher towards 44 euros on the European gas. The US nat gas closed above the 382, but just below the cloud here, and is testing at the moment. The RSI, on the other hand, closed just above 60 threshold, so actually supporting a bullish trend, and we are in a bullish trend. We just need to get rid of or above this this cloud there, and I think we could see it pushing higher then, and we can guesstimate what it will where it could move to. Well, we are looking at 412, 413 possibly, and that would not be a surprise if that scenario plays out. You can see that would be the peak areas around here, 425, 430. So also on the move there. Moving on to Treasury yields, US Treasury yields still 430, that is key support, and 451, 452 resistance. So it's boxed in between in this range here, needs to break out for direction. Positive sentiment on the RSI indicating a breakout to the upside, but let's see. The 200 moving average is also coming up there, 55 also coming up. So it seems like we are underlying bullish trend, but let's see. 430 needs to hold, and the 2 year still this range trading, so no really much to talk about. And let's move on to the EU 10 year. EU 10 year, well, still in this declining trend here, but the 420, 425 sorry, 220, of course, 240. I'm babbling now. Sorry about that. 240 support area is key. We are in a falling trend, so it could take it out, and if it does, well, then we are looking at 235, 230 area down here. But for now, keep an eye on also 260. If it takes out that, well, then we have reversed the trend. The UK 10 year range bound between 460 and 445. And then finally on Bitcoin, really not much to say. Setting back here, but above the 55 moving average, key support just above 100,000. So for now, we're just in a more or less sideways corrective phase here. It needs to take out 112 for upside potential to 120. The Ethereum, really the same picture, not much to say today. Setting back a little bit, but it's still 2,330. That is the key support. All right, that's all for today. Have a nice day, and talk to you again later.